The John and Ken Show continues. John Cobell and Ken Shampoo. KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk radio.
All right, a full update with a reporter on scene after 6 o'clock about today's shooting rampage in Washington, D.C. at the Navy Yard. It's coming up after 6.
By that sweet guy, Aaron Alexis. Hey, only in the idiot L.A. Times, would you have a story about a California legislature being praised for its restraint after passing a long list of bills to please government unions, illegal immigrant activist groups, and prison advocates. That's what the legislature accomplished this year. There was nothing accomplished if you were an American citizen, if you were not a prisoner, or if you were not a member of a government union. You got nothing this year. Nothing.
By the way, more than one listener asked a good question about driver licenses for illegal immigrants. Well, what happens now that we pass this bill? Let's say another year goes by, and you do stop someone on the road that does not have a driver license. And just because they're illegal should not excuse them. Right?
Well,
now they can get a license.
Well, see, that's the thing.
So like the rest of us, get in there.
Well, that's the thing. Are they actually going to have to comply with the law? You know, I'm stopped. I have to show my driver's license. An illegal immigrant today is stopped. He doesn't have a driver's license. Whoop, he's waved away. That's okay. Go home.
Yeah, we understand it's tough.
Yeah.
Because you're not allowed to get one. Well, now you are allowed to get one.
Now, if you're supposed to get one, if you're being treated just like an American citizen, right? Are you going to be treated the way American citizens are treated? Because if you're an American citizen and you don't have a driver's license, then you have trouble. Now, and I'm not talking about forgetting your license at home. I'm talking about not having one, period. There's nothing in the books. The cop goes and types your name in, and there's nothing. You never got one.
Because it's about safety. And now finally that they can be licensed, they should get the license, take the driving test, and we'll all be safer. And if they don't, what are you going to do? Because
most of them are not going to get a driver's license because they're going to be afraid of registering with the government. We saw that with that Obama benefit earlier this year.
Yeah, this is a deferred action for younger illegal immigrants who were brought here by their parents.
It was a mini DREAM Act, and you were going to get a 2-year waiver that you could go work and do whatever, and you have no threat of being deported if you're caught. Okay, a small percentage showed up to get that benefit. But see, this is what I'm saying. The activists are beating the doors down for all these benefits, and then you hand them out, and not that many show up. And, of course, the reason the Democrats are constantly pushing these benefits is they're hoping someday they're going to get a big electoral bang out of this, that they're going to eventually get amnesty, and all these people are going to vote Democrat. That's why they're into this. But it looks like the people who would actually enjoy the benefit aren't lining up. So if they don't line up for the driver's license, and then they're stopped by a cop for not having a driver's license, now what? Now are they going to be treated the same way an American citizen would be treated, which is usually not kindly, and it usually gets expensive. Now will their car be impounded for 30 days, which is the California law?
Now, on page 2 of this story in the L.A. Times, which, of course, was praising the 2/3 majority for not raising taxes, even though less than a year ago they gave us an all-time tax increase, didn't they? Income taxes on the wealthy and sales tax increase for everybody. Oh, how restrained they were. Isn't it remarkable? They want to make up for all those cuts. You mean cuts to scheduled increases that they had to go through?
They got the big windfall. The legislature and Jerry Brown got this thing on the ballot. Then Brown and everybody else went around lying about it for months on end, convinced enough idiots in the public to vote for it, and then they're being applauded for restraint. They stole $6 billion. They stole $6 billion, including a sales tax on everyone, and a lot of money from the wealthy people. And then they didn't spend it on the schools. They just flat out lied repeatedly from beginning to end for months on end. Honestly, and then the other times,
look at the restraint they showed. Everybody thought that this liberal Democratic supermajority would be taxing.
People are idiots. Who wrote this? Patrick McGreevy and Melanie Mason.
Well, they did stay on page 2. Still, for those seeking to affirm a view of California as a land awash in tie-dyed, unionized liberals, the legislature produced enough nuggets to sustain its leftist reputation, and here they are. A hike in the minimum wage to $10 an hour, the highest in the nation. Driver's licenses widely available to immigrants in the country illegally. There it is again, that painful, long, torturous way.
Available to immigrants in the country illegally.
That's how they now say it.
They came out with 5 words. All right. The overtime pay for nannies and home health aides, that's unenforceable.
9 gun control bills passed.
Yeah.
You see, they want to replace lead bullets for hunting with like some sort of aluminum. Anyway.
There's a burning issue. Why don't they replace the bullets with marshmallows? Then it wouldn't hurt so bad.
But apparently they showed restraint because there were calls to hike the car tax, and there were calls to overhaul Prop 13. But somehow they held the line on those because it appears they're worried that some of their moderate friend Democrats in Sacramento could lose their seats in the next election if they got carried away this time.
Yeah, they're afraid. They're the only restraint left in the whole system is that there's just a couple of seats that have to change, and then the legislature would not have the supermajority for the Democrats. So they're trying to incrementally steal money and incrementally give away the store. But you know, I was talking with some guys yesterday, right? 3 guys, they all run businesses, okay? Like factories, things like that. And one guy said, he goes, this really is the worst state in the nation to do business. He goes, there's so much regulation now. He goes, I started my business 20 years ago. I would not be able to start it today. You know, and they start going through all these stories about all the wacky regulations. It's really, really difficult and costly if you want to run a business in California. And the thing is, a lot of people just go to other states. So I don't get what these California nannies are gaining out of this. I don't understand why they have to be so intrusive, because it's easy to move and everyone is. And we have a terrible unemployment situation. That's what's crazy. We've had 5 years of this recession, really high unemployment. They intentionally put out a false figure of unemployment because they don't count the people who've given up. They work night and day for amnesty, which is just going to bring more workers into the employment pool, which will drive down wages and cost Americans jobs. It's like, why would you do that? They heavily regulate business, which also costs jobs. So it's like, well, I don't understand. The most important thing in a civilized country is to try to create an economy so there are as many people working as possible. The more people who are working, the better everything is. And yet their policies are intentionally designed to deprive Americans a chance to work or a chance to work at a decent wage. Why? And nobody confronts this. Instead, we get this happy ointment treatment from the L.A. Times about, well, they're actually restrained themselves this year. Well, in the midst of a horrible recession, why didn't they loosen dramatically all the regulations on the businesses? Why do they give more privileges to people who are here illegally when that just means more Americans aren't going to be able to work? I don't understand that. What is the bias against people working in this country?
You almost forgot about AB 4, which would undermine the Federal Secure Communities Deportation Program. Remember that? That bill slipped by last week, too, which would basically have California not complying with federal immigration regulations, which involve when you arrest somebody, you check on their immigration status. If it turns out it appears they're not in the country legally, you'll hold them for immigration and customs enforcement. Apparently, we're trying to not do that anymore.
There are a lot of crazy people in the legislature, and I don't know if the people who vote for them know how crazy they are, but the California Chamber of Commerce had to fight 38 bills in the legislature that were identified as job killers. 37 out of the 38 died. So this is considered a great deal, that the legislature eventually restrained themselves. But I thought about this. It's like, why are there idiots in the legislature pushing 38 separate job-killing bills, and they're so bad that most of the Democrats eventually agree we shouldn't do this? Like, why are they wasting time debating and negotiating and lobbying over stuff that puts people out of work? There are some people in the Democratic legislature who aggressively every day get up and they have some cockamamie idea that'll cost jobs, that'll put people on unemployment. Why would you do that?
All right.
I just don't understand.
Coming up after 6 o'clock, a complete rundown with a reporter in Washington, D.C. about